Hello, everyone. Welcome. My name is Jonathan Ringdahl. I know you can't see me right now. However, I assure you that I am here and I have a face for radio anyways. Therefore, you're not really missing anything. What's important is the contents of the slides. So just to go over the format of how we're going to go about this, I'll be talking about some of the places I like to winter camp, giving you some tips and tricks, strategies to winter camp, if you will, showing you some of the cool places that are around places I like to winter camp so you know where else to explore when you go out winter camping. And the rest of it, I will just call good old fashioned hogwash. I will let you figure out which is which. So let's get started. All right, things I have learned from my winter camping experience. I will say this first thing, beware of people you meet, especially if we are in person at the expo. Gotta be wary of people you meet. They may change your life for the better. This is Sam, who I know is watching, who's probably got a uh, pretty good smile on his face right now, because I met Sam at an outdoor adventure expo and just popped up on Facebook. That is our 7-year friend anniversary on Facebook, and we met doing a navigation presentation there along with the amazing Jolene. And it's been an awesome ride ever since. So you never know who is going to be your next person you meet at the expo that's going to change your life. Like my friend Karen sent me a text message that says you do not have a face for radio because she's very kind. So yeah, and when we're in person, I will look for you. All right, so now that I got that out of the way, let's talk about what else I have learned. Cold really is optional. People go, I don't want to go winter camping because I don't want to be cold. You don't have to be cold. If you dress right, you bring the right gear, it can be very comfortable. We've probably all had this experience in a campground with summer party goers keeping you up at night. Have not had that happen winter camping. The soft people stay inside. Full campgrounds do not exist. I've never had a problem finding a place to stay in even the most popular state parks in the winter time, and sometimes we're the only people that are camping there, which is amazing. You have an increased chances of seeing wildlife because there's just not as many people around to scare them away, which is another great part of being out there. Your cooler is also everywhere, which is awesome. You don't have to worry about ice and melting and hot beverages. You actually prefer hot beverages, so they're perfect being out in winter camping. Trips in which you survive make you feel awesome. All right, let's see. Come on. There we go. I don't know why that took so long. But anyways, that's one of the things you also have to be aware of is that the water may be shut off at the park you're going to. So make sure you know ahead of time, you've done your research, you've done your preparation. Therefore, you know what supplies you need to bring with you. Remember, water also does that. Your friends will question you. Well, that's definitely true with camping. And like I said, it will take you, you'll need several attempts at it to find your system, finding out what works for you. So just it's a trial and error process of going out there and figuring it out, and say what I'm comfortable sleeping in will not be the same thing that you're comfortable sleeping in. What you bring for gear is going to be tailored to you. And to remember that snores can still find you. Remember what I said about hogwash. All right. My Anna's skills, and I was player in the morning, woke up one, don't cap. All right, tip number 2, it's good to collect wood, lots of wood for making a fire, because fire represents comfort. You can cook over it, you can heat up your liquids on it, etc., etc. It's a light source, it's just great. And be mindful when you're collecting wood, though, it's best to take down wood. If you are taking standing wood and you're knocking it over, those nesting cavities provide habitat for owls and other cavity nesters. So just be mindful of that when you bring tools, you does like that, to make sure that you can take wood, if you are allowed to take wood where you're winter camping. Bring spam, lots of spam. And this has nothing to do with your email. Sam is from Austin, the spam capital of the world, so he's probably going to kill me for this. Now, John back there as well. John's idea of winter camping is in a truck bed camper like you see here. And I still don't know what Spanish really is. And you can't spell spam without Sam. And tip number 4, do not camp here at Naughty Pine. All right, and also do not pet forest puppy. They may not be the most friendly, although wolves tend to stay away from people. So if you actually see a wolf, you are pretty lucky. And this is at the International Wolf Center in Ely, Minnesota, which is a really cool place to check out. And as for things that come your way, have the layers, have the equipment. You can see here I have a ham radio on the right side above the yellow inReach for communication. And the inReach is a great satellite messenger. Solar chargers don't necessarily work as well in the winter. However, they're a good thing to carry with you as well. You never know what you're going to encounter out there. All right, and another time I had a truck, so I brought a tow strap with me. It's always good to have one of those with you if you have a vehicle that can pull some out, or even if you don't, if somebody comes along that can help you. If you have that, you're helping set yourself up for success. We had snowshoes with us up here. This is up along the North Shore. We were camping along the trail for the John Bear Grease Sled Dog Marathon, which is a really fun event to go take in up there. We were so you can see the shelter there. Let's see here. Apologize for that. I hear the audio is cutting out a little bit. Just have to keep working with it as best as we can. That's one of the problems with these virtual presentations. Sometimes there's issues with the audio. Let me see if I can figure something out here to make some changes, try and get some better audio quality.
Hey, Jonathan, sorry I'm going to cut in. We're having some really bad echoey audio here.
Okay. Yeah. Is it any better now? Or is it still kind of iffy? Sheridan, can you hear me? Thanks for your patience, folks, while we try and work out some technical issues. So we'll see. I'm hoping it's better. We'll try and keep working to see if we can't figure it out and try and get the audio to improve here with the thing. So really appreciate you working, helping us get through these challenges here. Let's see here. We'll keep trying to move through the slides here. It'll be more fun when we can do this back in person. This is one other place that, or one other tip I should say, that I learned at another presentation is when you are parking at your place, your trailhead, et cetera,
Yeah, seems to be
park
better
with your
now.
hood out in case you need to jump. Okay, awesome. Thank you, Sheridan. All right, so apologize. Maybe it's the acoustics in my house that were causing bad audio before, but trying to change my location and help with that. So anyways, park out in case you need to jump start a car. It's a lot easier to get to your battery if you're parked like this. All right, so it's also important, right from the get-go when you're getting out there, you're getting out winter camping, get off to a good start. This is the start of the John Bear Grease. If you're starting off good, you're starting off, you've been well fed, you're hydrating, you've done your research, you're helping put yourself into a good spot for winter camping, talking to the expert staff at Midwest Mountaineering of what you're planning on doing, getting gear recommendations, then you're giving yourself a leg up. And keep your focus as well. I think someone said dog treat or something like that. So the dog stopped and looked back. So just keep focused on your goals and the amazing adventure you're going to have winter camping, and you're going to have a great time. All right, and tip number 9: make sure you're aware of your surroundings. John actually tricked me here and got me looking, and Sam is behind me with a shovel full of snow, and I did not know it. So it pays to be aware of your surroundings, and dressing in layers helps capture heat better. You get that dead space between the layers, and that's going to help you stay warmer. And say, like, we were cutting wood here, I was able to shed some layers as I started to warm up, because you do not want to get really sweaty, because then that is going to cool your body down. As you get that sweat, you perspire, and then it starts to cool your body down. So just be mindful of that. Sweating is not good to do when you're out doing winter activities. All right, so here's, this is when we were out there. This is the first dog team coming through. The John Bear Grease is really fun. It's great to volunteer as part of it, and you can set up and you can winter camp along the trail at your road crossing as well. So that was a really neat experience to do. They came through at night sometimes, which is really cool. The dogs lit up, headlamps. So it was a really, really cool experience. A great winter experience along the North Shore. And then, of course, up there along the North Shore, the waterfalls are amazing. I believe this is at Tetagooch State Park. I'm certainly open to correction if I labeled that wrong in the chat function, which I should also mention. You can throw questions in there too that we'll get to at the end. And of course, I believe this place needs no introduction, the Split Rock Lighthouse. It's really cool to go see when you're up there too. Another really cool place that I love going to in the winter is heading over to South Dakota. So this is the Badlands National Park over there. It's amazing in the winter time. Just be mindful of the rattlesnakes in the winter. Like I said, it's really cool when you're over there. And like talking about the wildlife encounters, they see so few people, you will leave them with their jaw dropped. So the porcupines, this is also at Badlands, so that was a really cool experience. Coming back to Minnesota, on that same trip that we were camping out for the bear grease, I kept going after the bear grease, went up to Voyageurs National Park, and was driving out on some of the ice roads. This place is absolutely amazing to go if you're brave. You can camp on the ice in places, but that has to be done very carefully. And this is actually really funny. I sent this picture to my mom. My mom didn't think it was funny. She's probably watching this. Hi, Mom, I love you. And I sent her this picture in a text message, or through Facebook Messenger rather. And I go, Mom, I found a place to camp for the night. And she said, no, you will not camp there tonight, or I will come and I will get you and drag you out of your tent. Needless to say, my mom's an honest person. I did not camp there that night. Here's jumping over to the, this is actually going over the ice road over to Madeline Island in the Apostle Islands. It's another really cool winter experience. Big Bay State Park does have some sites plowed for winter camping. So that's another really cool place you can go, especially if you can drive over the ice road to get there. It beats the years where you have to take the ferry, or they have a wind sled, but I'm not sure if they let people that are not locals ride on that. And if you want to know whether or not it's actually safe to be out there, this is actually over at the Mainland Ice Caves. This guy landed an airplane on the ice. So the National Park Service, when they open the ice caves, does thorough checks to see it's safe. And it's really cool. It's an amazing winter experience. So you could, if you can get over to Big Bay State Park and winter camp, and then if the ice caves should open up, which it's been probably now at least 3 or 4 years since they've opened up, do not miss the chance to go. There's Jolene looking awesome like she is. And it is an amazing experience. I will drop whatever I am doing. I let work know, hey, I might be taking off on short notice if these caves open up, because it is such a rare event for them to actually be open. But yeah, and this is up north of Stevens Point. So we were out cross country skiing. It's another great activity to pair with winter camping. Snowshoeing also is amazing. Anytime you can get up into these north woods with evergreen trees, it's phenomenal. So it's just something to be taken advantage of and paired up with winter camping. So, you know, and if you're not familiar with cross-country skiing, snowshoeing, just stop into Midwest Mountaineering and they can talk to you and tell you all you need to know about that. This is the Kickapoo Valley Reserve. So this is over in Wisconsin. There's ice caves here that you have to hike to, which are amazing. You can also winter camp here. And if you're having a hard time keeping track of all of these different places, my contact information will be at the end. And you can message me and say, hey, just give me a list of the places you were talking about winter camping, or ask other questions. I love talking about this. So I'm here to help you. Tip number 10, locate your cooler. You can see the arrows point to just some of the coolers. This is a trip that Sam and I took to Peninsula State Park, and this is in Door County, Wisconsin, over by Lake Michigan. This is just a tremendously busy park in the summer, and you may have a hard time getting a reservation. Sam and I were the only people camping in here that night. It's awesome. It's good to bring a friend, especially one that doesn't winter camp, because then they help you set up your tent and get everything organized. And then, of course, having a warm sleep system makes all the difference in the world. You can see here, I have 2 different sleeping bags. Both of them are from Big Agnes. The top one is the Whiskey Park that I picked up from Midwest Mountaineering, and the other one is another, maybe the Lost Ranger down below. I bought a Western Mountaineering bag to be my inside liner bag to save a little bit of weight, because Midwest Mountaineering has a great selection of those bags. So definitely, I love it because you can go there and you can get in the sleeping bag and actually feel how you fit in it. So I highly recommend doing that before you buy a sleeping bag. Is you just, hey, you know what, crawl in it, see if it fits you, and you can even, you know, if you really want to get hot, try on 2 sleeping bags at once. But it's a good way to find the right sleeping bag for you. Yeah, because if you are getting cold in the night, it's kind of like getting kicked in the face. It's just not something you want to do. Here is a double wall tent without the fly on it. The tent you saw before was a single wall tent, and what happens with those is that the air you breathe out condenses on your fly, and then as it warms up, then that can start to drip and it starts to get your sleeping bag wet, which is not ideal at all. So what a double wall tent has for advantages is you can see there's a little ventilation flap in the top that will let that warm air go out, and then it will help keep the tent drier inside. So that is the advantage to a double wall tent. And you will also see that this has more complex pole structure to it, which is designed to handle snow loads. And that is another advantage over that 4-season tents have that 3-season tents do not, because I don't know what Minneapolis got today, but it was some heavy wet snow that fell here today, and 3-season tents might not have been able to hold up to the weight of that snow. This is another trick that I absolutely love, is to boil water and then put it into a water bottle. Just be careful not to burn yourself while you're doing that. And it helps to put it into a Ziploc bag should the top come open and it leaks, because it is not going to do you much good. And it's going to be very bad if it leaks and you get that water in your sleeping bag. However, this feels absolutely amazing. Sometimes I've done 2 of them, and inside your sleeping bag, it stays warm for a good time. And man, it feels great on the feet to have a warm water bottle down there. It's awesome. And it won't freeze either. That's another good thing about it. So you could have water to drink in the morning. Tip number 13 is just get out there and have fun. Have a blast with this, with these winter adventures. And if you do your homework, you do your research, you get a dialed in system, winter is one of the best times to be out, one of the best times to camp. And it makes you feel a sense of accomplishment that you don't get from camping in the summer. So it's absolutely great. I love it. So I'm looking forward to getting out and doing it again. You know, you just like get out and explore and find the sites. This is the Eagle Bluff Lighthouse in Peninsula State Park, and it's awesome. There was nobody else around. We watched sunset from this area. It was just beautiful. I think that's the tip number 15, is just go enjoy those winter sunsets. The way they reflect off the ice is just beautiful. It's awesome. It is a lot of fun. There's so many great advantages to just being out in winter and exploring and camping. It's great. I mean, I know now is not the best time to be traveling. However, when that time comes again, and it's coming, it's just great to get out and explore. This is at Peninsula State Park. That's a really cool place if you're up for a drive across Wisconsin to get to it on Lake Michigan. And of course, sunsets come early. There's lots of darkness. So definitely having some good lights makes all the difference in the world. This is a Lucy light. I absolutely love those. They charge off the sun. They're small and portable, and you inflate them to make them bigger. So they're a lot of fun. Sunrises can also be very stunning in the winter time. It's awesome, and you don't have to get up at like 5 a.m. to see them. So that's another nice thing about wintertime sunrises. The ice formations in winter are just awesome. This is over at Cave Point County Park in Wisconsin. It's just another great spot to see ice hanging off of rocks. North Shore has a lot of great spots as well to see this kind of rock formation with ice hanging over it. A lot of fun. This is Sam here again, Cave Point County Park, just a beautiful park along Lake Michigan. To me, that one looks like there's an elephant down there. When we're in person, I can point it out a little bit better, but you can see the trunk hanging down from the water. You can see the elephant's eye there, and that is in the foreground here. So I hope you all can see that. There's other cool formations here. There's a little closer view of it, of the elephant. You can use your imagination. Maybe you see something else. There's another picture of it, just so you can get a closer up look of the elephant. That's the cool thing about ice. You just never know. Here to me, I see a pelican just off to the right of the center of the picture. And to me, I see a manatee on that rock pile that's out there on the right side of the picture. So you can see the big beak of the pelican, a little bit of its mouth opening, and then up near the top is what I would see would be the eye. But again, everybody's got a different imagination. If you see something else, throw that in the chat. I'd love to hear what you see. Make friends as well when you're out there doing your winter camping and winter adventures, even though just make your friends from 6 feet away or better. Okay, just be safe about it right now, but still be out there, talking to people. We're all still human, so it's good to still make connections. This is cool too. It's the water comes splashing up there at Cave Point County Park on the ice. It's just, I just love winter, and getting down and looking in different areas and getting different perspectives and appreciating the different formations of ice is one of my favorite parts. And so I love winter camping because you're getting out and you're in a beautiful place, and there's all these cool things to explore while you're out. Great beaches. Just remember, no lifeguards on duty, usually in the wintertime, if you feel the urge to swim. Just love it. Love all the different parts about winter camping. This is in Sturgeon Bay, Wisconsin. So you have to go through Sturgeon Bay to get up to the Door County Peninsula and go, do your snowshoeing, your camping, your skiing. And the Sturgeon Bay shipyard there, Bay Shipbuilders, is one of the few places on the Great Lakes where these big boats can come in and get work done. So Sturgeon Bay tends to attract a lot of those. I know Duluth is another good place for winter layup for the boats. So lots of cool things you can get out and see in the winter time that you can't see in the summer. So it makes it a great time to be out camping. There's another one of the ships. Some of them in there getting work on as well. And you get to, especially along Lake Michigan, you can find ice shoves. So there's just these massive piles of ice that have been pushed up by the lake onto land. So you can see there, Sam, for some perspective on them. And then you can see how clear some of this ice is, as well as that blue tint to it. And it is amazing. It's really cool to see. I don't know if it happens on Lake Superior as much as it does over in Lake Michigan. I hear about it more over on Lake Michigan. Yeah, pack your common sense. Sorry if you got kids watching for that, but this is a little cul-de-sac turnaround here. And in the summertime, if you can't tell that there's no outlet from there, I really don't know what else to say about that. And then, okay, so this one is not exactly what you were probably thinking about winter camping, but this is winter in Florida, in the Everglades. So And then here is, this is my kayak. This is on the creek here in Gillsville, Wisconsin. I actually made a little snowman to put on my kayak because it's just fun to get out, do these adventures in winter. That's a whole nother thing of talking about paddling at this time of year that I'm not going to go into because we're focused on winter camping. But let's just say I was wearing a dry suit. So let's see. That actually got by. I got through that. Pretty good. So to summarize, I'm a fan of using a 2-bag sleeping system because it allows me to adjust how many sleeping bags I'm in based on temperature so that I'm comfortable. You can do winter camping in a 3-season tent. It's doable. It's definitely doable. I've been doing it, and it just, if you can afford to, a 4 seasons tent is going to be able to handle snow loads better. It's going to be vented better. You'll have less condensation issues in your tent. That's a nice thing. Do not underestimate the value of having that warm. Sheridan, did you have something? I was just hearing some audio come in.
Nope, that was just a mistake. Sorry.
Okay, no worries. Yeah, that's, and it's just like I said, it's an adventure. One of the things you want to do is just know your sleeping pad as well. And I talk about your sleeping system is to know the R value of your sleeping pad, and that way you'll know if it's going to be warm enough for winter use. So the higher the number, if memory serves me right, means it's warmer. And one of the things that I love to do is carry a closed cell foam mat that goes underneath my sleeping pad just for another level of warmth for me. And it depends on, say, if you are carrying all of your winter camping gear on your back, or you're pulling a sled behind you, or a more professional version of a sled is a pulk. And I don't have experience with that, but that's another way of bringing your gear with you. Say, if you can pull that on cross country skis for storing your gear. There's lots of different ways. Of course, if you are winter car camping, you can bring more luxuries. So if I'm winter car camping, I can bring with a blanket to throw on the bottom of my tent, just so that if I roll off of my sleeping pad and say, I'm getting ready and I get on my sleeping bag, it's nice just to have a little extra layer on the bottom of the tent to keep it warm. Be aware as well, if you're getting warming and then you're getting temperatures dropping back below freezing, the snow can get icy and crusty. Like when you saw that shelter that we were in along the trail, the blue shelter, we snow around the edges to keep drafts from coming up underneath it, because that didn't have a floor inside of it. And when we went to go and pack that tent up, it had warmed up, so the snow had started to thaw, and then it cooled back down and it stayed cool, and those flaps got frozen in the snow and were hard to remove. So that was more of an ice fishing shelter that we were using. However, it also applies if, say, MSR makes these pouches that you can use instead of stakes in the winter. If you bury those in the snow and you get that warming up and then it freezes again, those can also get stuck in the snow and be a little more difficult to dig out of the snow. typically 4-season tents come with stakes that they market as being able to dig into the snow. So there's different areas, different things to think about as far as winter camping goes. However, I hope you have a little bit better understanding of some of the ways that you can have a good warm trip winter camping, and just remember that it's a trial and error process of learning what you need to stay warm out there. And I think it's been an amazing adventure getting into winter camping and learn all of, and I go in going to people's presentations to learn more and more. And I look forward to continuing to see other people's presentations and talk to other people about their experiences with winter camping. I mean, I know there's people that make different snow shelters like quinsies and then sleep inside of those. It's really cool because it's like anything, there's so much that is out there, different techniques, different types of shelters you can use. And I look forward to continuing to experiment and continuing to learn. So that is what I have. And if you have any questions, feedback, ideas for me, please reach out to me. Love to hear it. Love to have feedback, things that I should include in this presentation, things I should try. I'm all for having this discussion and sharing ideas so that everyone can keep learning more and we can keep getting to be better winter campers. And I'm really looking forward to the day when we can all be back in person and it can be more of a discussion rather than me just sitting here talking to my iPad at times with really bad audio, which I apologize for. But hey, we're rolling with it. We're making it work, and we're going to overcome the challenges we face, and we're going to be better for it. So that being said, I'll let Sheridan share if there's any questions or feedback that's been in the chat.
Yeah, thanks, Jonathan, and thank you everyone for your patience with the audio. We do have a couple questions in the chat, and if anybody else has more, feel free to just enter them in the chat below the video player. So first, we've got somebody wondering about how to stake tents in the winter. If you've got any advice on that, Jonathan?
Yeah, staking tents in the winter time, it depends. Of course, there's, how deep the snow is that you're setting up on. Ideally, I've never gone into an area that has really deep snow to set up. So I've been able to pack the snow down or shovel out a space. And if you have a freestanding tent, that's awesome. If you put some of your heavier objects that you're bringing in the tent with you, or you even do that on purpose, you bring with you things that are heavy, you can just, again, if you're car camping, that's a lot easier to do. You could put those heavy objects inside your tent to hold your tent in place. They do make, I believe for MSR, they're called blizzard stakes that are meant to be put down into the snow and act just like regular tent stakes would in the dirt. And I haven't tried these yet, but I got them. They're the MSR pouch like tent stakes. I mean, they're not tent stakes. I don't remember the technical name that MSR has for them, but basically is you can bury them in the snow and those will hold your tent in place. Or you can put rocks in them too, or you can put, you could put logs in there, that are obviously small enough size to hold your tent in place. I think we actually used some sticks buried in the snow once too, of just wrapping them around. So that was a really cheap alternative. to having tent stakes, is just looping them around the holes where stakes would go. So there's a lot of different options out there for staking down your tent in the snow, and there's room for creativity. And as I build experience, my answer to that question will probably change as I try different things that I use to hold my tent down, just as long as you make sure that you do hold the tent down so you're not chasing your tent across your campsite, because that is something that I've never had to do. And you can't get my body language, but I was being kind of sarcastic. Is I think one time I had to chase a tent that got picked by the wind before I had a chance to stake it down. So yeah, great question. Thank you.
Someone is also wondering what kind of fuel you use when winter camping.
Man, I love my jet boil. So that runs on that isobutane. I think now pretty much all of fuels that they make are 4-season fuels. So yeah, that's usually my go-to stove. I have an MSR XGR stove as well. I've heard the durability of that stove is absolutely incredible. Works in the harshest of conditions. I have not tried that winter camping yet, and that runs off of white gas. And I've heard people that have had that stove get frozen on them, and then they thawed it out and it fired up and it worked just fine. So, but I've had great luck using my jet boil with isobutane. Never had a problem with it winter camping.
Great. Also wondering about temp combo for double sleeping bags. I think how you calculate how warm it'll be is what they're wondering. When you combine.
What I've heard is, what is that, Sheridan?
Oh, I was just saying when you combine the two, kind of elaborating on the question.
Yeah. I have heard that for most sleeping bags, the temperature rating that you see is the survival rating, or basically the you're not going to die rating. And then to add 10 degrees to that for comfort rating. And that is completely dependent on the person. Men tend to run hotter than women as far as our body temperatures goes, our ability to sleep comfortably. That's from what I've heard from the research. And so it really comes down to trying out different sleeping bags. I sleep great. The Whiskey Park, I believe, is a 15-degree bag, and the Western Mountaineering bag I have is a 0-degree bag. And so it's really comes down to just getting out there and trying it. And I haven't had any winter camping experiences since I started doing this where temperatures have dipped below 0. So I don't have some magical mathematical formula or rule for saying this is how cold I would feel comfortable with it. I know that may not be the best answer, or for me, there might be someone that has a better opinion out there on that, of how cold it can be while wearing this or in those sleeping bags. But I would say, considering I'm using the insulation of both, if it got down to 20 below, I bet I would still be warm. When that happens and I give this presentation again, then I will have a better answer. And said, if you want to, follow me on social media, keep in touch with me and keep checking in with me, I'm happy to provide a better answer for that when I get it. Thank you for the question.
Thanks. Got another person sharing that they see a turtle beside a manatee on the photo that you showed of the ice.
Okay.
So different interpretations.
Yeah,
I think,
love it. Love it.
You're... Sorry. I think your dad is tuning in. He asked if you remember igloo camping.
I remember we did see some people at Mirror Lake State Park that had made an igloo. I think that's what he's talking about.
Must be.
So thanks for tuning in, Dad. I love you.
Another person is asking how to shower out in the woods after skiing and sweating.
Oh, that is something that I have never tried to do before. There are those solar shower units. I don't think those would work that great in the winter time. I know Sea to Summit has a waterless wash. I think I've seen that in the camping section at Midwest Mountaineering before, or wipes or something along those lines. Um, that would be something that would be an option as well. You know, if you're doing it in some place where there's hot springs, well, bam, there you go. Take care of that right there. Uh, short of that, that would take it would take a good amount of fuel to heat up water to do that. Although I learned of a new product from my friend Ryan this year. There's some kind of showering unit little spray unit that you can plug into your car that has a warming element to it. There's two different models. One warms up the water, one doesn't, because he was using it to spray off his boots and his dry suit. But it was very expensive. It was like $300 or $400 or something like that. For me, I wouldn't think that's worth it, especially if you could spend $10 on some wipes or some Sea to Summit's waterless wash to clean you up. That's the route that I would go with that. Yeah. So if you try and you figure something out, hey, shoot it to me, because that would be interesting. But yeah, because it's not the most fun to be all sweaty and grimy and grody and then crawling into your nice down sleeping bag. That's why I'm also a fan of having a liner for your sleeping bag, because those are a lot easier to wash and they help protect and increase the longevity of your sleeping bag. I'm also glad you gave this question or put this question forward, because that's one of the other things is I always have a dry pair of clothes to put on before I get in my sleeping bag, because even if you think you're dry, you're still probably going to have a little bit of moisture on your clothes, and that can cool you off a little bit as you're trying to get your restful night's sleep. So great question though.
Yeah, good suggestions. I think the Sea to Summit Wilderness wipes are the product you're referring to.
There you go. Thanks for having my back, Sheridan.
You got it. Another person is asking if you've ever winter camped without a shelter, just under the stars.
Not yet. However, that sounds absolutely amazing. I'm going to do it at some point. And I know this Rod Johnson guy, Sheridan probably knows him, that is all about the bivy sacks and everything along those lines. Sheridan, do you know that guy?
I've met him a few times, yeah.
Okay. For those that don't know, he's the one that owns Midwest Mountaineering, and he and his wife Sharon are amazing people. And if you want to know about sleeping out under the stars and being comfortable, that's your man right there.
Yeah, he's big on the sleeping under the stars thing. Another person is wondering if you recommend a longer sleeping bag to accommodate boots, water, other gear that you if you recommend having them in your sleeping bag to prevent freezing, or does the extra space in the bag make it harder to warm up?
If you fill the extra space with things, then that's occupying that space. So that's space that your body does not need to heat up. And that is a very good point. So I love these questions, this feedback, because it just jogs things in my memory. Is that, yes, I bring things inside of my sleeping bag that I know I want to have warm. So the things that I want to put on the next day in the morning, I am absolutely bringing those into my sleeping bag. Either they'll be inside of the sleeping bag I'm in, and if I'm using the 2-bag system, maybe they will be between the sleeping bags. However, I do want them in there so that when I put those things on in the morning, then they are going to be warmer than if they were outside the sleeping bag. And that's where doing, say, if I do 2 water bottles filled with boiling water and I bring those in the sleeping bag, then I know that is going to be good drinking water for me the next day. I know that it is going to be in liquid state rather than frozen. So I'm all for of that, and if you have, your boot liners, if you have a boot that you can take the liners out of, those are absolutely great to bring inside as well, inside your sleeping bag, as long as they're not covered in snow and ice. Those are great because that'll help you put your feet into those before you put them into cold boots. That's really nice. That's definitely a good thing to do. So that was a great question that jogged some things in my memory. So thank you.
Thank you. That looks to be it for questions, unless we get any last minute ones here. But we've got guests saying thank you for the presentation. Another person says they see, I think it was a person crawling out of the water instead of a manatee.
Okay.
The ice
Yeah.
photo. Yeah, looks like we've got all the questions answered. So thanks for the great presentation, and thank you everyone for tuning in.
Yeah, thank you so much, everyone, and look forward to giving you a presentation in person when the time is right, instead of talking to a little camera on my iPad.
All right, thanks everyone. Have a great night.